Rebonjour. Rebonjour les amis. Bienvenue, bienvenue à Amboise in the beautiful Loire Valley. Some of you may recognize this magnificent garden. I just visited the Château d'Amboise, the castle of Amboise, and the gardens are renowned. And I thought it'd be fun to share this with you if the cell signal will cooperate. It's a little windy today. We have lovely weather though, in the low 70s. It's like an early summer. It feels really good. There are tourists surrounding Amboise today. It is Mother's Day in France, and so we have quite a few people in town, lots of tourists, and all of them are French, which is really funny. Not a single foreign tourist here today. And it was busy at lunchtime. I had to wait an hour and a half to get a table because I hadn't made a reservation. So I thought I'd take you on a little stroll, leisurely stroll. I've got the right shoes on, so it won't be a problem. Take you on a little leisurely stroll in those beautiful gardens, if that's okay with everyone. We have some pretty incredible views. I'll show you the chateau from the other side a little better. But we have some pretty incredible views here of the Loire, the river I just left into and found here again. So this is a very special visit to me because the last time I was here was about 18 months ago. And the last time I came here in 2019 was with a Rick Steves tour that I was leading, and I think through that season I probably came to Amboise and stayed here several times, 5 or 6 times at least. In fact, our hotel was right below here somewhere. So I hadn't been back in 18 months, and I was curious to see how the city has weathered the storm, and it's looking fine. Some restaurants were open. We're closed today because it's Mother's Day and Sunday. I think it's because it's Sunday probably, but most of them were open, very busy, lots of people. So the wind's blowing. I'm going to try and protect the microphone. This is not lavender. I thought it was from a distance, but it's not. And some of you, the gardeners out there, will recognize this plant. It's absolutely stunning. And I don't use the word stunning lightly. Exactly. You get to see it virtually until you can return. That's the whole point. So I thought I'd treat myself. It was a very last-minute decision this morning when I saw the weather was holding up. I decided to treat myself to a special celebration here in Amboise. All I did was hop on a train into easy train station. 20 minutes later, I was here in Amboise, 10-minute walk from the train station to the downtown area. I did visit the famous Sunday market this morning. It was packed, so I didn't stay very long. I also thought there were too many stalls selling clothes, crafts, housewares, and not enough stalls selling food. It was too packed anyway, so I just didn't feel comfortable staying there. So I left. And I did a first live stream in the main street in town earlier today. If you haven't caught it yet, you can watch it later. And I showed you that street where not all, but a lot of the restaurants are here in Amboise. So finally I had a nice lunch en terrasse. I was able to get a table around 1:30 p.m. with a glass of wine. Did a little bit of shopping at probably my favorite boutique here. I figured it's Mother's Day. Why not? So I did that. Now I have to carry the stuff I bought. So I have a very full bag. I'm having a lovely day, and I hope you enjoy this virtual tour as well. The French say, il n'y a pas de mal à se faire du bien. which basically translates into you should really spoil yourself and pamper yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I believe that. Okay, look at the trimmed bushes. Yes, it was a painter's easel, you're right. Nobody was there though, so I'm not quite sure what's happening with that. Look at the beautiful river. It feels a lot more expansive than it does in Tours, where I live. Look how wide it is over there, the Loire River. So this bridge is the bridge I crossed across that big island in the middle to come from the train station, which sits on the other side. But it's a really quick walk, so that was easy. And I don't have a train till later today, so I'll have plenty of time. I might treat myself to a goûter. Little late afternoon snack, pourquoi pas? Look, maybe that's what the easels are for. Like that. So this garden has different sections, different themes, and some of them are closed. They're working on them right now, so I will show you the best part of it. It's a lovely day. Oh yeah, look, we have more easels here and more frames too. So you can do this, or you can bring your easel and sit here and paint. So the train round trip was 12 euros from Tours to Amboise. The entrance to the Chateau was 13.50 euros, full price for an adult. And with that you get a histopad where you can picture the Chateau with the furniture the way it looked in the past, and I didn't get that. I just did the regular visit. It comes with an excellent brochure translated in several languages. I got the English version and it was very good. We have a beautiful vineyard, a vineyard with those cute little flowers we used to pick as children, known as les pâquerettes in French, one of the prettiest words in the French language, like small daisies. So what's left of the chateau today was roughly built in the 15th century and improved upon later on. You probably know that Amboise was a royal city for a long time, and the kings of France through the 14th, 15th, and even 16th century favored different cities. So some kings liked Amboise, other kings took the court to Blois. There was also the Tours period, where I live, and eventually King Henry IV, at the very end of the 16th century, decided that royal power should be based in Paris. So after that, the Loire Valley became more of a, I don't know, should we call it a vacation destination for the kings? But it's interesting when you visit the chateau here to see that even the kings of France, even in the 17th century and later, Louis XIV, Louis XIII, his father, they used some of these chateaux and came here. In fact, Louis XIV was a big fan of Chambord, the chateau that Francis I had built, the massive one, the largest one around here. I'm curious to see what's behind that little fence. I will take a peek. Let's do that. Nothing much. I think it's just used to be an entranceway here. There's a beautiful cedar of Lebanon over there. We'll go see it. We'll get closer. It was planted during the rule, I think, of Louis Philippe, the last king of the French. And since he ruled between 1830 and 1848, that tells you how old that tree is. Look at it. That one. And then they put a nice pond next to it. So there is a garden of the Orient, and there is a garden named Le Jardin du Midi, the Midi meaning the south, southern France, but it's closed right now. But I like the southern Mediterranean touches here. To me, whenever I see those tall, thin cypress trees, that reminds me of southern France where I grew up, where my grandparents lived. See? That's very Mediterranean to me. And of course, if I do this to the vineyard and more of the cyprès, the cypress trees. And then you have the beautiful boxwoods. Let's see. Okay, what else can I show you here? I hope you're enjoying this little stroll. Everything is quite impromptu since I made up my mind this morning. It's kind of nice to be able to visit places like these before the peak of the tourist season happens, even though there were a lot of people at lunchtime. I imagine it'll get a lot busier this summer. So we're headed for the Jardin d'Orient, the Orient Garden, or Oriental, I guess. Such pretty colors. All that green and the blue skies as a backdrop. It's lovely. And the crunch, crunch, crunch of this stuff on the ground. So here is, whoa, look how they hold the cypress trees to make sure they can grow and resist the wind. So here is the Garden of the Orient. And everywhere you have benches. I really like that in this garden. Everywhere. Let's see. This won't be a very long stroll. I just want to give you a feel for it in case you haven't been here before. Welcome if you just joined us. This is Véro. I'm treating myself to a day trip, a road trip in my new adopted region, the Touraine, the Val de Loire, the Loire Valley. And I am today in Amboise, one of the most recognized cities or towns around here. And we are in the gardens of the beautiful Chateau d'Amboise. This morning I took you through the main street, or one of the main streets, to soak in the street vibes a little bit. Oh look, this fountain has green water. So in the summer here they have a light and sound show in these gardens. A lot happens here. Well, I'm glad you like the out of Paris excursions. You're going to get a lot of those since I am now based outside Paris in La Provence, where so many cool discoveries await. You know what's really nice too is once you know a little bit about French history, all these kings and queens and important people you talk about in Paris or discover in Paris, it's really neat to actually see their names mentioned and what they've done outside Paris as well, and then you can really start connecting the dots. Because Louis XIV was very influential, for example, on the whole country, not just on Paris. And Henry IV is mentioned all over France, really. Yeah, these are very, very well maintained gardens. You know, they bothered adding those tags or labels. Yes, douceur de vivre, a leisurely pace. This is what the Touraine, the Loire Valley is famous for. This is one of the reasons I came here. And I've got to say, I moved to this area less than a month ago and I've spent some time here, some time in Paris, but I can tell that whenever I come back here, it's going to be lovely. It's like you take a deep breath. This big tower I showed you from down below, it's immense, and it was built so they could ride their horses from the street down below all the way up here. So I'll show it to you. You'll probably see it in the other video if you watch it. You used to be able to go down this way, but the door is closed today. Check this out. Here is the Château d'Amboise. And look at this pathway lined with lavender that hasn't bloomed yet. Look. Imagine how fragrant that's going to be. In fact, it already is. All right, I'll take you around so you can enjoy the views from up there, and then I'll wrap up. It's okay if you missed the start. You can watch the replay as soon as I come off the air, and eventually I will upload whatever I shared today on YouTube as well, my YouTube channel. You should subscribe if you haven't already, because I upload great content there several times a month, even once a week. So subscribe, friends. This is Leonardo da Vinci, a big name in town. He was invited by King Francis I, who was a big admirer of the Italian arts and lifestyle, to live here for 3 years until his death. And he was buried here on the grounds of the Chateau in a church that was eventually destroyed. And the legend says they picked up his remains and placed them in the chapel you see over here, where he overlooks the city. And I met this little guy earlier, and I'm just so impressed. Remember when I showed you in Vinci outside Paris, those sheep they had hired to mow the grass? Well, check this out. I think they should get one of those, don't you? He's doing such a great job and minding his own business. Look at that. Off he goes. I just can't get over this lavender. So pretty. So yes, Mr. Leonardo da Vinci lived here. He was a close friend of King Francis I. Really influenced life at the court, and you can visit his house, the house the king gave him. Here it's called the Clos Lucé, and it's about 10-15 minutes away from where I'm standing, walking distance. Beautiful gardens as well there, and you can see models of some of his most well-known inventions. I'm going to stand right there where those people are so you can see the Loire and everything that's below it, and then we'll wrap up there if you have a few more minutes. I won't go inside the chapel because I'm afraid I would lose the signal, but I will walk past it so you can admire the facade. So this is the chateau where kings lived, of course. Francis I, I think I mentioned that earlier, grew up here. Is the sun going to block it? I think we'll be fine. Look at that. Isn't this spectacular? I'll just do this so you can kind of peek inside without losing my signal. Yes, Sylvain, you're right. It would be fun to take that secret tunnel. I don't know. I don't have friends in high places. If you do, let me know. Could always reach out to them. That would make for cool live streaming, though I doubt there is a cell coverage down there. So when you're here, you can look back at the chateau, which is beautiful, of course. Look at that. A lot of it was inspired by the Renaissance. You can tell from the style. And then those interesting flags here. You have the fleur de lis, or fleur de lis, which was the symbol of French royalty. And on the white and black flag, you have the ermine, the ermine. We've mentioned that when we were in Brittany. Remember, we had a powerful queen, Anne of Brittany, the heiress of the powerful Duchy of Brittany, who married 2 French kings and was Queen of France twice. And she did live in this chateau, where she actually lost her first husband accidentally. And this is what you see there, the fleur-de-lis for the French royalty, and the hermine, l'hermine in French, for the Duchy of Brittany. And from here, gorgeous views on the beautiful rooftops, slate rooftops. And here's the street where I had lunch, where lots of people have lunch. It's slowing down now, not as many crowds. I think I'm spotting Bigot, bit of a local landmark, which will be my goûter place. As I recall, they have wonderful ice cream. It saved me on a couple of occasions during the heat wave in 2019 when I was touring here with Rick Steves Europe. All right, let's give you a better view of the Loire, and then we shall wrap up there. Hopefully it won't be too windy. Great vantage point. You see how steep the rooftops are? The clock tower, we actually, in the first stroll we did earlier today, we went under it. So you might want to check that out. It's all that's left of some of the walls that used to surround the city in the 15th century. All right, we should have really nice views here. Look at that. Look how beautiful the Loire River is. And this is in fact an island, one of the largest on the Loire. You have houses and shops and businesses there. It really is one of the largest you'll find in this area. And from this side, of course, great view of the chateau and those flags we just mentioned. And the gardens where we just strolled behind it. The cedar Lebanon in the distance on the right-hand side. And Leonardo's resting place, final resting place, here in the chapel. A very, very beautiful place, no doubt. I'll say a quick little hello. With my sunglasses, I can't see much, but I'll try that. There we go. Thank you for joining me today, friends. I might pop in again before I head back to Tours. We'll see, depending on what I find for my goûter. Could be fun to share with you. But if not, you have this replay and another replay to look at and enjoy. So I hope you get to come back to the gorgeous Touraine or Loire Valley. It's absolutely magnificent around here. One last peek. Voila. Wind, wind, wind. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, friends. I will see you soon again.